Hold up, wait a minute, let me put some glow up in it. What is up, GlowBots? I'm glowing with the flow and I'm back to not only put on a show, but also let you know what it's like to glow. Period. Bring it to the flow. So, as kind of like an unplanned spur of the moment video, I'm going to be talking about my perception of what it means to be a parent. Aside from saying you have children, aside from bearing children, aside from being a mother and or a father, we're going to talk about what it means to be a parent. So, without further ado, let's get started. I'm making this video because I just experienced something with my own family, and it just got me thinking, as in, like, what does we all think it means to be a parent, to be parent to a child? Like, realistically speaking, it's 2019, so what qualifies you as a parent? What makes you a parent, as opposed to saying you're a person that has a child? A little background about myself: I'm Guyanese, as I already told you in a recent video. So my family's from the Caribbean, West Indian, you know what I'm saying? It's a debate, whatever you want to call it. We're not here for that. But that part of the world is just more or less, and I'm going to make an in-depth video about my personal perception of the Caribbean culture. But that part of the world, I feel like their values and their morals are misaligned. A lot of people are from that part of the world are, to me, egotistical. A lot of people are prideful. A lot of people are like shady. They just have all these qualities that doesn't align with me personally in the space I am as an individual right now. So I'll be the first to tell you that more often than not, I'll shun that aspect of myself, just because it's like it becomes overwhelming for me at times. And that's why usually I have so much issues inside my household, or I feel like I'm literally an outcast or an outsider. But neither here nor there. My memories of Guyana, right? And knowing what Guyanese people are naturally, I don't want to say naturally because that's not natural, but knowing what they are culturally, how they are as a people, I'd say, and you can classify this towards, you know, any other black parent as well, because, you know what I'm saying, depends on your own personal experiences with your own parents. So a lot of parents from that part of the world would classify themselves as parents just by doing what they constitute that they need to do to a certain extent that they feel like a parent would need to do to say they're a parent. Or they would do stuff so that they can in turn say, I did this for you, ergo I'm your parent. You know what I'm saying? Aside from all the other contributing factors that I believe that we're going to touch on that makes a parent an actual parent. So they'll do stuff, as I said before, in a type of way that will have you just like, oh wow, so you did this, you did that, you did the third. But they kind of wouldn't consider everything else that they are doing in turn, to negate everything that they are doing, or stuff that they're not owning up to that they are doing, in terms of, you know what I'm saying, bringing down the aspect of being a parent. So I'll give you a perfect example. Parents in the Caribbean, and it's a vicious cycle too. That's the crazy part. Now I'm sitting here thinking, but it's really a vicious cycle. So parents in the Caribbean, they'll belittle their children, they'll berate their children, they'll bring their children down in every aspect. You know what I'm saying? They'll curse at their children, they'll beat their children, they'll just treat their children like mentally and emotionally like less than human in a sense. But once they have that aspect of being a financial supporter, to say that, oh, I have a roof over your head, you have food on your plate, you have, you know, clothes to wear, you go to school, you're not this, that, and the turn financially, they'll constitute that as, okay, yeah, go find better. So it's like, I feel like it's a game that's being played, or it's like a mental thing that's being like ingrained into us. And like I said, it's a vicious cycle. So it's like, once you grow up in that environment and then you now become a parent or of your, you know, of your own children, you feel entitled, or you feel like you have a right to treat your parents the way that you were treated growing up, just cause, you know what I'm saying? It's like, that's just the way it is, naturally, period. So, as opposed to saying, you know what I'm saying, parents, as opposed to being parents that actually, like, care for their children, or a parent that actually, like, you can even go as far as to say love their children unconditionally. Their parents to the extent of their providing for their children to a certain extent, yet wholesomely their children is, you know what I'm saying, not, it's not being reciprocated as what it needs to be reciprocated from, as you being the parent. So parents, our Caribbean parents, our black parents, they have this thing, right, where they feel like they need to be, and I'm in no way, shape, or form saying you have to be like best friends, or you don't have to assert that authority over your children, but they feel the need to be, you know what I'm saying, like I said, they're egotistical, so in their eyes they're always right, in a sense. And to me, I'm a type of person that, yeah, you guys know, I like to think about stuff outside the box. I like to actually think, I like to process, I like to have conversations as well, you know what I'm saying? Like, we can learn, like, it doesn't matter if I'm your child, if I'm your parent, if I'm a stranger, like, I feel like we can learn from each other if we just take the time to sit, to discuss, to hear each other's point of views, and to come to a general consensus. But like I said, a lot of Caribbean parents or a lot of black parents are egotistical, so it's like they feel like they're always right, or they can't learn anything from their children or anybody else at that matter. So since it's their house, you know, whatever they say is whatever goes. And I mean, yeah, that's one aspect of it for me. Another aspect is a whole lot of shadiness. Aside from saying that you're actually genuine with where you're coming from as a parent, like from the Caribbean culture, there's a lot of shadiness, especially in my family, in my extended family. There's a lot of like shady stuff that happens that, you know what I'm saying, you peep and you don't really know how to align yourself with, especially if that's not the type of person you are naturally. It's just like, especially if I can picture myself living in the Caribbean or living in Guyana right now in my point of time, I really wouldn't think that I would be rocking with like anybody. Like, I would not know who to trust. And coming from me, I'm very outgoing, I'm a very social person, so I feel like naturally I trust easily. So if I could look at a whole culture or a whole country collectively and say I wouldn't know who to trust, that should say something. That should say a lot. And it's crazy that it's even like that, because it's like, to a certain extent, I'm starting to not even consider myself Guyanese anymore, like, honestly speaking. Even in terms of, like, once upon a time I used to come, when my dad was alive, we used to come from Guyana to here, and go from here to Guyana, and vice versa, and back and forth, every single summer. And, I mean, it stopped, because, you know, like, my dad wasn't around anymore, and my mother had came from Guyana to, you know what I'm saying, to, like, raise us, to bring us up, to provide for us financially. And I kind of missed it, because as a kid, you know, I kind of loved to travel. Granted, I didn't really go anywhere else but Guyana, but I just used to love to travel. I used to love my experience on a plane. I used to love to go back home to see all my younger friends, to bring them stuff, to get stuff to come back with from there to here, and all that good stuff. But like I said, the traveling back and forth stopped for a couple of years, and I used to miss it. But it's just like, now really pondering on everything and really like opening myself up to the feelings and the emotions and the truth I've gathered about that aspect of myself and about that area or that environment as a whole collective, is just like, I honestly don't see myself, or I don't know when it's gonna be the next time that I do decide to go back to Guyana. But I've digressed. That's just like a little side story. I digress. But back to being a parent. So it's like, there's a lot of parents, and if you wanna cross races, that's fine. There's a lot of American parents, particularly black ones still at the moment, that, like I said, like, they provide. I feel like it's easier to be a parent in the sense that you are caring for your child and you are there for your child and you love your child, you listen to your child, you know what I'm saying? Like, you provide for your child, not just financially, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually as well. So I feel like it's a bit more easier to be a parent, to say that you are a parent that actually provides, because there's parents out here that I wouldn't consider parents, but you know what I'm saying, just because like they're the one that bore the offspring, that they'd be looked at as a parent, but it's like, you're not here for your child in any way, shape, or form. So how are you a parent? So it's really a lot to like digest, and it's a lot for me to like think of and to process and to ponder. Like I said, this video was just like a random kind of like me venting in a sense about like certain stuff that happened. So I just feel like as a parent, we just need, and I feel like it goes back into like how messed up the world is overall, because it's like everything like this is a vicious cycle. You know what I'm saying? Looking at it back from the Caribbean perspective, another thing that's just like a non-factor for them is like they're too set in their ways, like they're too old school, and that kind of correlates back to that they think know everything, or they know better, or just because they hold this title and or this status above you, then whatever they say is just it. But I feel like for us to evolve, I feel like we need to get rid of some of the old outdated values and or like morals and stuff like that from way back when that just does not work anymore, and open our mind up to new possibilities, period. But it's just like they're too ingrained in their ways, and that's why I feel like Guyana as a country, they're just so far behind. And I'm not saying America is any better as a collective, because America got its issues as well, but in terms of being like a lot more progressive, should I say, we're making strides here. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're opening up to like new possibilities. Granted, there's people that still live here, like I said, that like the Caribbean aspect of individuals that migrate from the Caribbean and from the West Indian, and they settle in the United States, whether it's in New York or whatever other state. A lot of them still hold on to the selves that they were while before leaving the Caribbean, and I guess that's fine to do to a certain extent, because like, you can't expect them to come and just like throw away all the aspects of themselves that they once had. But that, I feel like, generally speaking, that's the very purpose of assimilation. Like, you come, you take what you want, and you leave what you don't. But at the same time, you come with the idea or the mentality that you're gonna lead a better life, or a different life than the one you led way back when, you know, from the country you came from, and that's in a sense why you're coming. So a lot of them don't do this, and I feel like a lot of them feel like they need to berate and belittle and just judge and just all this nonsense that it's 2019. Like, why is it still coming from a parent, coming from everybody? But I feel like it's perpetuating more in the vicious cycle I spoke on earlier, from parents to their child. It's how you raise your children, how you enculture them, the experiences they have, you know what I'm saying, the pressures and the influences that they gain throughout life. So it's like, if all that is regulated accordingly, and you would instill the right type of values and morals into your child's upbringing, I feel like there's no reason your child shouldn't be a promising and successful part of society, or a member of society as a whole. But it's just like, we just have all these issues as a community and as a people that just stems from a lot of different things. But innately, if we were all to be better parents to our child, then in a sense our children can be better parents to their children, and so on and so forth. So it's just like, in terms of changing the world, that's one major aspect right there that's not really, you know what I'm saying? But, and it's crazy, because it's like, to have these conversations with your parent, or like some parents, especially parents from the Caribbean, it's just like, they wouldn't, granted, it's not what you say, it's how you say it, but a lot of them aren't receptive to it overall. So it's like, they wouldn't even want to hear it, they wouldn't want to, you know what I'm saying? And then we're not even going to touch on like the religious aspect of like people's well-beings and all of that, because a lot of that conditions as well, and a lot of that perpetuates judgment and violence as well, but that's a story for another day. But in terms of parents, like I said, overall, it's not just about providing for your child financially and saying, oh my God, you know what I'm saying? Throwing it back in their face in a sense to make it seem like if you just did all this and, you know what I'm saying, like they should be grateful for you, when in a sense, like your child could be dying on the inside and you wouldn't even know, or you wouldn't even care to know, just cause. You understand? So on that note, I feel like parents overall, like if you don't really encompass all those aspects of being a parent, you really need to do better. Your children really need better guidance, and we just need better people in the world. So it has to start somewhere, and basically that's it. That was just like my little rant for the time being. So if you like this video, please give it a like, comment, subscribe, share, thumbs up, all that. Tell your friends, tell your parents. Yeah, just support. Like I said, this is a spur of the moment video. I have stuff planned that I want to bring out in the future, but it's just like I've just been really like back and forth, really just like iffy, trying to like think of a lot of stuff mentally in terms of YouTubing and keep my aspect of being a full-time student on the right path. So definitely stay tuned. I have stuff planned, and I'm gonna be, you know what I'm saying, planning my working my plan and bringing stuff out. I'm just like, everything happens in its own timing. So with that being said, I'm amazing. I'm amazing. Bring it to the flow. Bring it to the flow. Bring it to the bring it to the bring it to the bring. Bring it to the bring it to the bring it to the bring. Bring. Bring it to the flow.